pronoun trouble.
Tonight's commentary is going to be on the Rageaholic. Specifically his video on the Starfield controversy of pronouns and planetoids, a Starfield rant. The highlight of which is easily him comparing Az, the streamer who had an angry rant about pronouns being in the game, to the angry video game nerd.
He's blowing it all out of proportion? Oh no, someone blowing something out of proportion in a video game so they can rant about it for comedic effect. Golly gee willikers, I hope nobody makes an entire fucking YouTube genre like that. In 2004. You should know all about 2004, seeing as that's where your politics flash froze.
Okay, first off, this tweet doesn't actually see Angry Joe saying that this is being blown out of proportion, and is more him making fun of the idea of complaining about something being woke in the first place by sarcastically suggesting a review show that rates things based on how woke they are. And this also reveals the issue with the AVGN comparison more generally, because even ignoring the fact that, yeah, some of these people might not like the AVGN and the angry video game style of reviewing more generally, which is perfectly possible, the comparison falls apart due to the AVGN complaining about problems that most people agree actually exist. He plays Dick Tracy on the NES, dies once, and learns there are no extra lives or continues, for example, and then reacts by saying,
and you know, I really wanted to give it a chance because I kind of liked the idea of finding clues and figuring out where to go, like it made you think like a detective. But one guy... no continues? Like, seriously, give me a reason why there's no continues. Why are there no continues? Why are there no fucking continues? Why? Ah!
This is a frustration most people, especially those who have played retro video games, can understand, because we've all played a game that was incredibly angering. And we understand either how it feels to know the game's only giving you an arbitrarily decided number of chances, or if you haven't played a game like that, at the very least how much more infuriating it would be if you only had said limited number of chances. Especially as the concept of continues got removed from games in favor of just unlimited chances starting around the PS1. To the point where the modern notion regarding continues is rather negative, as James himself put it in his review of Frankenstein on the NES.
I really hate this password thing in general, because what's the point? You should have unlimited continues. Yeah, because the only reason you should have to put in a password is if you turn the game off and want to come back to it later. As long as you're still playing, you're going to keep playing the same stages over and over and over again, so what's the point of sending you all the way back to the beginning? The earlier stages are the easiest, and those are the stages you end up playing the most. It's the later stages where you need the most practice. It's all about trial and error. Like, imagine if in high school you fail out of senior year. What happens? You do senior year again, right? You don't have to go back and do freshman year again. So, bottom line, have unlimited continues. God damn it!
In the case of Dick Tracy, this is made even worse by the fact that it was based off a popular movie, meaning kids who really liked the film very likely tried the game only to find it a frustrating and overall negative experience. Again, to quote what the nerd himself said in his video on the Karate Kid.
Now, the only comforting thing to know is that everybody seems to share my frustration. Karate Kid is a game that has haunted many of our childhoods. I mean, everybody has the same story. I love the movie, so I got the Nintendo game, and I couldn't stand it. Yet I had to keep on playing it because I had to beat it.
The point being, the anger, although hyperbolized, at the very least feels justified. While many do not feel that such rage is understandable when seeing an option to select pronouns, which most people think is a cartoonishly small thing to get upset over. Remember, hyperbole is defined as extravagant exaggerations. However, in order for you to exaggerate those feelings, you have to have them in the first place, and if your underlying point is moronic, then your rant is going to be moronic. You're going to look less like James Rolfe, and more like, to continue with the angry reviewing comparison, that really infamous clip of the irate gamer trying to get the red gem in Aladdin.
Just how the hell did they expect me to jump this far?
Well, maybe if I get a nice running start I can do it. Alright, here we go. Oh, come on! Now I've got to waste my time climbing back up the platforms, avoid getting hit by enemies, and dodge their stupid arrows. Boy, what the hell was I thinking? There's no way I can reach that. But maybe if I tried jumping from a higher platform. Alright, let's try this. You son of a bitch! I don't believe this! Look how close I was! Ugh, somebody call 911, because I was robbed.
You know that clip that was uniformly made fun of because you can get that gem incredibly easily with the blanket? Which Chris had, by the way?
You son of a bitch! I don't believe this! Look how close I was! Boy, what the hell was I thinking? There's no way I can reach that.
And of course, just like this stream several years later, the fact that Chris is basing his anger on something that doesn't make any sense inherently makes his hyperbolized reactions just not entertaining. And saying that doesn't mean I'm not acknowledging the reaction is exaggerated, just that I think it's exaggerating something that doesn't make any fucking sense in the first place. However, the Rageaholic does have a response to that. You see, other people don't think that's the case, apparently.
But I agree, it is no big deal. And if you don't believe me, suggest the pronouns be removed. I guarantee within moments your Twitter mentions will be stacked to the ceiling with strangers eager to inform you precisely why it would be no big fucking deal.
You see, I don't even get what the point is supposed to be here. Well, if you said that, others would disagree. Okay, why should I give a shit? Are these people rational? What are their reasons for disagreeing? Given you prefaced this argument by saying you don't think it's that big of a deal, obviously you wouldn't agree with these people, so why do you think we should put so much stock in the opinions of people you don't agree with? Ah, but he has an example of this occurring, so let's address that real quick.
It's such a small deal that when an impossibly based Battletech fan modded the 2018 PC game to remove the silly-ass penis pronouns from the game, it was permanently fucking banned from the Mod Nexus website. But remember, folks, it's no big fucking deal. And to prove it, they'll deplatform you.
Yeah, and those people are also idiotic in my opinion. I don't get your fucking point. I just don't. Let's see, anything else to cover?
It seemed both avowed lefties and fence-sitting skepticunts alike all decided to form a douchebag drum circle to shit on this guy. The Act Ma'am, some hack guy, Pris Gay Run. I didn't bother checking his Twitter feed, but I'm sure Review Tech was firing off with all 5 chins. If they haven't been remotely relevant since the Sarkeesian witch hunt of '15, chances are they were going full mask off on a dude for having the gall to record a funny fucking rant. You remember funny, right, fellas? It's what your index finger smells like after VidCon.
Okay, first off, whether or not that rant was funny is entirely subjective, but even if we ignore that, the issue wasn't merely this man recording a funny rant, it was that he said stupid shit during it.
And second, hopefully now you know precisely why I called these cockholsters out on their fair weather fucking bullshit years ago. In retrospect, it's abundantly clear most of the skeptisphere on YouTube only attacked Anita in a failed Freudian attempt to distance their own brand of authoritarian collectivism from hers. Hell, most of these motherfuckers make her look moderate these days.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's impossible that actually all the YouTube skeptics did become authoritarian collectivists while I wasn't looking, but I am going to say that I find it weird you're using as a jumping off point to discuss this, them making fun of somebody for being angry at non-binary gender options in a video game. Especially given, say everything you want about non-binary gender identities or the concept of gender identity itself, it is incredibly individualistic. It is the idea that only the individual can determine their own identity and that it can be radically different from everyone else's. Hell, it even includes the idea that two people identifying the same way can have radically different understandings of that identity and mean it in entirely different ways. What the fuck is collectivist about that? Furthermore, what exactly is authoritarian about the idea that you can identify however the fuck you want, and that said identity can mean whatever the fuck you want? Do you know what any of these words mean?
After hours laboring in vain to write the first funny fat joke of their wasted lives, they all seem to settle on a single talking point, and what they loosely construe for an argument can be distilled to the following. What's the big deal? Pronouns are part of the English language. This video is just the same as a feminist freakout.
OMG, he made that point in a silly voice. Now I know it's wrong.
Pinko pronouns, particularly those you have no option to disable in-game, aren't a feature any more than some asshole dev deciding your main character is named Humperdinck or some shit and not allowing you to change it would be a fucking feature. This isn't the addition of options, it's the excision of them.
Again, how is allowing a player to choose to play as a non-binary character if they want the same as forcing one really specific thing upon them? Also, both of those are features because that's just what features are. This would be like if I said Sonic 2 removed features from Sonic 1 because I didn't have the choice to turn off the spin dash. Oh, there's also this part from the ending credits where he compares being asked to select pronouns, I guess, to Socrates drinking hemlock. I don't even have a response to that other than, I think you're being a tad overdramatic, personally. Also, Socrates did accept his death and drink the hemlock. You do know that, right? Anyway, final thoughts. Although this video was not terrible, it does show the mental gymnastics those opposed to pronoun options in a video game had to perform in order to justify their opposition. And honestly, I think that says more about their side than anything I could say ever would. Good night and good luck.